there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. I'm Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. Now this is only my second Flosstube, so I'm still trying to get into the swing of things and like my formatting and all that. So if it's a little bit stuttery still, please bear with me because I feel like I'm almost there. So since my first Flosstube, I've already had a couple finishes, a couple of new starts, and a little bit more haul than I expected. So if you are interested in seeing that kind of a thing from me, please stick around because I've got a lot to show you. But real quick, before we get into that, I just wanted to let you guys know my kind of thoughts for my posting schedule. So I'm filming this on June 30th, and I think this is going to go up on July 1st. And my goal is to post roughly every 2 weeks or twice a month to give you guys my progress and, let you know if I've met my monthly goals and things like that. I feel like 2 weeks is a good amount of time to get progress on whips and new starts and things like that. And it, keeps things interesting. Because if I posted every a couple times a week or something, there wouldn't be much to show you guys. So I think I'll do around every 2 weeks with maybe some bonus content here or there. So just so you know what to expect. So with that out of the way, let's get into my finishes since the last time you guys saw me. So the first finish that I knew was an easy get was this Let's Eat Trash and Get Hit by Cars. It is washed and ironed. I felt like with finishes, I usually wait a long time to wash and iron anything. I wait till I have a big stack. But because I was like, I'm going to be showing these on YouTube, I kind of want to make sure they look a little bit crispy, So all I had left to do was the pink. I just didn't have the colors until that point. So it was really just a matter of sitting down one night and banging that out. And that was pretty quick. I don't know how I want to FFO this. Probably just throw it in a frame. Maybe I'll frame it myself since it's like a smaller piece. Might be a good practice one so that I can get more comfortable framing my own pieces and finishing them that way. It's just on 14 count Aida, nothing really special. It's really crunchy Aida too. It's not like that really smooth buttery feel. So it's not a great pillow material, I don't think, but it's super funny. I don't know. I think these kind of goofy cross stitches, not your grandmother's cross stitch type stuff is really fun to do. I also finished another piece for my mini art gallery that I'm making, and I'll throw in a close-up picture as well. This is Son of Man, and what I'm doing is I'm just making a ton of these mini arts. I want to do 1 or 2 a month, and then once I feel like I have the ones I want, I'm going to go thrifting. Actually, I should probably start thrifting now so that I have everything I need. But I want to thrift a bunch of tiny frames and then probably spray paint them gold so they look fancy. And then I want to make just a mini gallery wall and just have all these little art pieces. I might even make the little nameplates for every single painting. I don't know yet, but I think this is my 7th one that I finished this year. So I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't know how many I want to end up with, but we'll see. I might even put them on command, put the frames on command strips so that it's all interchangeable on my wall so I can just swap them out whenever I want. We'll see. The wonders of command strips, but I just love how cute these are. And my last finish since I last saw you guys, and this is an FFO, but it barely counts. It's just this cute little frog magnet. I used the Too Strong magnet again, like I did with the last one, but I just want to use them up, and I'm like, whatever. It's not like I stick anything to my fridge anyways. Once a magnet is put on my fridge, it's on the fridge. I just found this pixel art online somewhere, and I just kind of stitched it. And I don't even... I just found this green. I don't even know what DMC it is, and I don't know how to figure that out. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all that. I don't know. I just found it in a bag somewhere. I'm like, why is this in a bag? But yeah, I thought it was cute, and I'll put it with my bee magnet that I showed you guys last time. So those are all of my finishes. And then I had a few new starts, and I feel like from here on out, this year, I'm going to have a lot of new starts because I am discovering all sorts of patterns and all sorts of styles of patterns that I've wanted to do that I've never known existed. prior to really getting into Flosstube just in the past couple months, really the only place that I found patterns was a long time ago. I found them on Craftster, but that is now defunct. And I found them on Etsy a ton, which Etsy patterns are great, but there's so many designers out there that are like not on Etsy and like maybe only sell physical patterns and things like that. And I really like a lot of those. And so my worldview has been opened. So the first one that I started, and I started this like literally as soon as I finished filming that last video, I told you guys I was gonna, is Long Dog Samplers. I almost called them Long Dog Silvers. Like, what? Long Dog Samplers, a pavane for these times. And I'm stitching this on 28 count Springfield Sage Lugana. So as you guys can see, I got the border across and down, and initially I wanted to do the whole border, but this is my first time stitching on this type of fabric. Previously I was an Aida only stitcher, and so I was afraid that I maybe miscounted, and I didn't want to do like the longer borders or the left border and the bottom border until, I guess that would be the right border when you're looking at it. But I didn't want to finish off the borders until I get all the way across with the design so I can like really confirm that the count is right. Because I'm doing this in like DMC 310, so black, and it's hard to count the stitches when they're like all black because they're blurring together. I get to a certain point and I'm like, I can't think anymore. So if I get to the end and it's a little bit too long or a little bit too short, I can rectify that really easily as it is now. But if I put the whole line down and the one at the bottom, I'll have to tear out all of that. And I don't want to do that. So I figured I would just wait a little bit and, you know, get all the way across. So you can kind of see up in the corner, I've really gotten a good start here, in my opinion. And this random part in the middle, like, can we talk about this really quick? So I don't know if you can see right there, there's some damage to the fabric. And that's because I told you guys, I was kind of like, should I stitch this in hand? Should I not? And I was like, no, that seems like a bad idea because this is such a big piece of fabric. So I put it on my knockoff Q-snap, and you know, everyone's always like, oh, you can't damage your stitches in your fabric in the Q-snap, it'll be fine. Literally, I damaged my fabric in the Q-snap in like 5 seconds, and it like ripped a little bit, and I was like, I don't want to, I had already done a lot, well, not a lot, but I didn't want to have to like redo it and move down the fabric and waste the fabric. So I was like, let me stitch the area of the pattern that's there and hope that I counted right, and kind of make sure all that's bound together by stitches, and hopefully it'll hold up. So far it has held up. It doesn't look like it's ripping anymore, and I don't know, like if you look really closely you can tell it's damaged, but I think that when it's fully stitched out, once this is all like worked through, I don't think that anybody would notice unless I like specifically pointed out to them. But yeah, I feel like I made pretty decent progress with that. I only stitched on it like a couple of times and not for like an extensive period. I also started this, it's like a big circular pattern, and it's gonna say, be nicer to yourself, you dumb bitch. And I, like, that's just my inner voice to myself, so I thought that was a great pattern when I found that. This is a 28 count even weave that I got from Joann's, and like I said, I've never stitched on anything but Aida, so I'm doing 2/2 on it, and for some reason, it's on the Lugana, it's really easy to do 2/2. Like, I'm not having much of an issue with it. But on the even weave, which you'd think would be the easier one, I just keep like not counting right. I think because it's white, so I'm like, it's Aida in my head. I'm like tricking myself, and I keep having to go and like redo a stitch in a row because I did one stitch 2/1 for some reason. But this is it's gonna be a big circle. So it's gonna have like 4 partitions of like branches and flowers. I finished this first partition and I started the second one. I think I did it a little tight. Like, I think it's gonna be a little bit close. I must have miscounted, which I'm not surprised. But I'm gonna hoop finish this, so I don't think I need a ton of excess fabric. And then because I was doing this in the Q-snap thing, I didn't feel like moving the Q-snap thing. I'm just gonna call it a Q-snap, even though it's a knockoff Q-snap. The frame. I didn't feel like moving the frame, and so I just started in on the lettering because I was right there, and I wanted to throw a couple more strands in. But here are the colors, and I like it a lot. Like it's really kind of springy, you know? It's got like these like florally pinks and greens, and then this brown really ties in well with them, and then black for the lettering really stands out. So I really like this color palette, and this is all DMCs. And then my last new start is just another tiny art for my mini art gallery, and this is Van Gogh's Starry Night. I have only stitched on this 3 times, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on my lunch break, and so I got a decent amount done. I like to like either read or like do activities on my lunch break, and I don't know, people in my office are always just like, what are you doing? Like, they think it's weird that I don't sit with people at lunch and talk, but like, they don't talk to me throughout the day, so why would I want to talk to them at lunch? I don't know. I want to just do my little crafts and stuff. And so like the main boss on Wednesday walked by my desk and he's like, what are you making? And I was like, oh, it's just like, and I'm explaining like, oh, it's just like Van Gogh's Starry Night. And he's like, what do you do with it? And I was like, I don't know. You put it in a frame, I guess. And he goes, oh, okay. And then I just walked away. And I was like, see, this is why I don't want to eat lunch with you guys. But yeah, I feel like I made significant progress. This one has a lot of blues in it, which like I'm sure everybody knows the painting, but you know, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 different blues in here. So yeah, and then a couple yellows, which I'm excited to pop those yellows in because I feel like that'll really brighten this up. And I feel like I'll finish this one pretty quickly and then move on to my next mini art. So those are all the new starts for the end of June. And because I finished all my other whips except for one, I only have one whip to show you guys this time around. And that is my Epic Pokemon Cross Stitch Generation 1. I spent a day really focusing on the second page. So that's like the Lapras right here and the Gyarados and like all of that area. So I have officially finished page 1 and 2 in full. And so now I'm gonna shift over and finish up page 3, I think, hopefully next month. We'll see. I'll talk about that more in plans. And then page 4 is like a segment of a page. It's like not very big. So maybe I can finish both. We'll see. I've got a couple vacations in July, so I might not have as much stitching time as I usually do. And this is not a travel project for me at all. When I do a full coverage piece, I don't take it out of the frame. It sits in the frame until it's done. I loosen the dowels so that it's not getting like pulled taut the entire time, but I don't take it out of the frame because putting it in the frame is such a pain. So yeah, here's the I feel like I made like significant progress for how big this is, because this is 115,000 stitches, I believe, or 115,200 stitches. Not that those extra 200 make a huge difference. But yeah, so I'm doing pretty well. So that's it for whips. You'll definitely see more whips next time because I'm going to be starting stuff like crazy in the next couple months. I can already feel it. I've been kitting stuff up. I've been getting patterns. I've been making plans. So the whip section this time was a little bit sad, but next time it won't be. So now on to the haul, and then we can talk about plans. I know last time I was like, oh, I'm not going to have any more big hauls. I lied. Like, I just went a little bit cuckoo bananas at the end of this last month. So yeah, first of all, I bought this beer labels pattern book from Anheuser-Busch Inc. I got this from a Facebook like D-Stash group. I gotta say, it's hard to buy stuff from those because people snatch stuff up so fast. But I saw this, and I don't even like drink alcohol that often. I'm not like a big drinker, but I just thought this was really funny. Like, this is official Anheuser-Busch merchandise, and it has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 charts of all these different beers, and I just I thought the funniest finish was this like triple weird little like puffy pillow thing on a plaque. Like that was really weird. I guess if you knew somebody who had like a bar or something, like a home bar, it would be kind of nice to stitch something up for them. I don't know if I'll ever stitch anything from this book, but it was just funny to have, I guess. That's my thing. Like with hobbies, a lot of times I really like to have funny items. So this is just one of those things that I felt like I needed, and it wasn't that expensive. So I picked that up. Then I was late night browsing for cross stitch patterns, and I found this website called crossstitchingsupplies.com. And they were like going out of business, and so they had like a crazy like bottom of the barrel sale, but everything was like pretty picked over. They had a couple fabrics, nothing really exciting. They had these, they're called Jobelins, which I've never heard of. I've since heard a couple people mention them on Flosstube, but these are 32 count ivory Jobelins by Witchelt, and they are 6 by 17 inches each. I got 3 because they were like a couple bucks, and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I could probably stitch some smaller patterns on it because it's, you know, it's long, but it's narrow. Or I could do some kind of like hanging banner with them. So I just figured I don't have a fabric stash really. I just have a lot of thread, and then I buy fabric to the project. But because I'm trying to branch out into fabrics, I'd like to get a bit of a fabric stash. So I thought, why not get some cheap little fabrics and check them out and see what they're all about. It looks like it's a very thin fabric. I need to do a little bit more research on fabric so that I can understand them a little more, but I got that. They also had some patterns. They didn't have a lot, so I saw this one. It's like, they put like a glossy photo on the pattern. Like this is paper, but this is like an actual photo. And this is Golden Age Cicada from Ronnie Rowe Designs. I've never heard of this designer. I've never seen anybody make anything from this designer. But one thing about me is I love bugs. And I thought this was kind of a weird pattern. It looks like it might be interesting to stitch, especially maybe I'll swap the colors out because I'm not like super into these colors. But imagine if I did like a blue scale or a purple scale or something like that. That would be kind of cool. So I might try to color swap that when I feel a little bit more confident. I don't have plans to stitch this anytime soon, but because it was really cheap, I was just like, I'll pick it up and maybe I'll get to it eventually. I ordered some floss drops, but they haven't come in yet. I'm not a big floss drop user. These are from Stitch and Den UK, and they look like the Ouija board, what is it called? A planchette. And I don't really like floss drops that much because, not because I don't like them, I think they're really cute. It's just, I can see that becoming a real problem for me really fast, like just collecting so many of them. And so I really only needed a couple for some of my monochromatic projects in order to store the floss in my bag, because like, for example, that Long Dog sampler that I'm doing, you know, it only uses 310, but I don't want to just toss the thread all willy-nilly in the bag. I'd like to have something to affix it to so it doesn't get really like frayed and messy. So that was kind of what I had in mind, and like maybe some other monochromatic projects that I'm going to be doing. But I bought just 3 and they should be coming in soon, but I'll just pop up a picture from the seller so that you guys can see them. They look really cute, and I just thought it's perfect because I really like the kind of like witchy, spooky vibe type stuff. Also on Etsy, I got this needle minder from Becca Doodles. It says, "Where's my effing needle?" And this is, it's wood. It's got, you know, magnets on it, but it's made out of wood, which I didn't realize. All my needle minders that I have aside from this one are metal. So I didn't really totally read the listing. So I was kind of surprised when it came in. I was like, oh, that's wood. That's really weird. But it's nice because it's really light in comparison to some of those metal ones. So I am excited to use this. I'll probably throw it on one of my new starts coming up. I got 3 digital patterns from Una Buena Pieza on Etsy, and these are, I think they're called Enchanted Forest 1, 2, and 3, and they're like little ghosts, and aren't those called like bell jars, the little glass jars that you put over, like, I don't know, like the Rose and Beauty of the Beast. But there's 3 of them, and what I want to do is I want to stitch all 3 on Black Ada, and I'm swapping out the ghost colors for the glow-in-the-dark DMC. And then I want to get like a triptych frame, like a trifold frame, and put them all in that. I think that would be really cute. So I'm going to start that tomorrow. I'm going to start with number 1 and just, you know, work my way through all 3. I've never stitched with glow-in-the-dark floss before, so we'll see how that goes. I heard it can be a little bit finicky to use, but I think it'll be really worth it. And the ghosts aren't that big, and that's the only color I'm subbing, so. Okay, and then my boyfriend attends a church, and he had mentioned to one of the women there that, like, I like to cross stitch, and she was like, oh, I have all this stuff from my late mother that I don't use. And so she brought it the next weekend, and he came home with this huge box of stuff that I was like, it's old. Like, I haven't had a chance to fully go through it because I've been so busy, but we've got like these old DMC skeins, which is so crazy. There's this Yugoslavian embroidery book from DMC, and it has embroidery patterns, but it also has some cross-stitch type stuff, and it shows like these really cool border motifs that, I don't know, I just thought that was really interesting. There's this goofy, it's like a magnifier, which you can wear it as a necklace, I guess, and then as if you need it, like you rest it like this so that you can see your work, which that's dorky as heck, and I love it. And just like a huge variety of, like, there's fabrics in there. I can see there's like bags of threads, patterns. So I'm gonna go through this probably this weekend because we're coming up on the holiday weekend. I'll have some time. And if I see anything cool, I might post it over on my Instagram, which I have linked down in my description. So if you are interested, go follow me there as well. I also got this needle minder here. It's like a little koi wind sock from Japan. This was a gift from a subscriber from my other channel. Like I said in my first video, I have a nail channel called Mediocre Mannies. And I mentioned over there that I like cross stitch, and one of my subscribers also like cross stitch. And so she sent me this really cute needle minder. It's from Busy Beaver Boutique on Etsy. And so I'm excited to use this on a new start as well. And then I decided to buy, I was going to buy some étoile because I had plans. But then I was like, maybe I should just buy all of the étoile just because why not? So I bought the set, this 35-piece set, which it came in the mail, and I was kind of bewildered because I didn't expect the tin to be this big. When it said it came in a tin, I thought it was going to be like this big and maybe like this deep, and all 35 of the étoile threads were going to be stacked on top in there. However, as you can see, so it comes with this little booklet, and then they're all just in a row, and they're so pretty. Like, I have never seen étoile in real life, and or maybe I haven't, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know, but I got some plans. I've got some ideas, and I'm excited to use these, which I will discuss in plans, but I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this giant tin? Because I can't just throw it away. It's a good tin. It's a good box. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I'm not going to keep the étoile in here because I have a storage section for my thread. And then I was like, wait, it's tin. I'll put my needle minders inside of it. So this will be my needle minder storage, I think, when I pull all these out and put them on, oh, it's on like a piece of paper, when I put them on bobbins. And then it came with this little booklet. It's got all the colors on the back, and then it has a couple charts in here. So it's got some embroidery charts, and then it has 2 cross-stitch charts as well. And they're just like florals. They're nothing too like groundbreaking or exciting, but I thought it was nice because étoile is expensive. I bought this on Amazon, and I think for all 35, it was about 40 bucks. But if you wanted to buy this from Joann's, I think it's like 70. And I was like, heck no. So I'm glad I got this like on a pretty decent deal. And then this isn't like necessarily haul, but it kind of is, I guess. I made these, and don't look too closely at them, but I made project bags. I really wanted project bags, but project bags are expensive. So I bought a bunch of like kind of cheap ones on Amazon. I'm sure you guys have seen them. They're like the crappy plastic ones that have like the colored zipper on the top, and they're like a little bit see-through but kind of opaque. And I see all these YouTubers with their beautiful like fabric project bags, and then I went on Etsy and I was like, oh my god, they're like 20 plus bucks each. And I'm not saying that that's not a reasonable price to charge. I'm just saying I can't afford the amount of project bags that I want and also continue to buy cross-stitch stuff. So I was like looking up, because I have a sewing machine. I have a Singer sewing machine that's from like a billion years ago that I was given as a gift from my grandmother's neighbor who has since passed away. And I haven't used a sewing machine since I was in 7th grade. So it sat in my closet because I wanted to use it so bad, but I was like, I can't do this. I have no confidence. But I was like, well, I have the sewing machine. It can't be that complicated, right? So I looked up a tutorial and I found a couple, and I watched through a few of them to kind of get the gist of it and see. And the one that I really liked was from somebody called Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. Her tutorial was so simple and straightforward, and it just was like well shot, and I was like, all right, I think I can do this. So I got all the stuff, and I think I did it. I did okay. For not having used a sewing machine since the 7th grade, and I'm 30, so it's been a while, and not really like having an instructor or anything like that aside from a YouTube video, I'm happy with the results, and I learned a lot, and I have a lot more cut and ready to sew. So tomorrow I'm going to go buy more zippers, and then I will make the rest of my bags. But let me show you the bags. So the first one I made was, this is the back, and this is like a watermelon chameleon. And then the inside fabric is this bright green. So on all of the bags, the biggest imperfections you're going to see are at the very bottom. I bunched up the fabric somehow. I got to figure out why I was doing that and make that stop. And then there was just parts where I fully did not sew the vinyl down somehow. And you know, my seams aren't all straight. They're not all like perfect looking, but that's okay because this is the first bag I've ever made, and I feel like I learned a lot. So that was the first one. And then the second one was this purple inside and then this like magical unicorn back. And I put a pink zipper on it. Again, same issue with the bottom. Again, this side, I screwed up the, like sewing the vinyl down. I think the problem is I had a hard time cutting the vinyl, and I don't think I cut the vinyl very well. So for next time, I'll know a little bit better, but they hold everything they need to hold. Then I have this one. It's like these black crystals and skulls. And then on the inside, it's this like deep maroon and like eyes. We got the bunching at the bottom again. I didn't miss the plastic or the vinyl this time, but I did have this really weird like taper in. I don't know what happened here. Got a little crazy. And then the last one I made is this gray with like gold spatter. And then the inside is this really cool like pink skulls. This actually might be the best bag because there's no issue with the plastic, and I did have the mess up at the bottom, but I feel like out of all of them, this one has the best construction, which makes sense because it was the fourth one I made. So if they're not progressively getting better, then what are you doing? But yeah, so I made 4. I have stuff cut for 5 more, and I have the desire to continue to make these until the end of time. So I really like the vinyl front ones where you can see what's in them because I don't know, I just think it's cute. But yeah, Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, her tutorial made me feel super confident, and I know that these are not good. They're not even subpar, they're kind of bad, but I am very proud because, bro, first of all, like, it's hard enough. Like, I don't know how to use a sewing machine necessarily, right? Like I said, I haven't used one since 7th grade home ec. So I pull it out, and that sewing machine is very old. It's beautiful. I'll pop up a picture of it, but it's old. And so I try to figure out how to thread it because I've never had to thread my own sewing machine before. And I'm like looking up tutorials because I'm like, I don't know how this works. And it's just like because it's so old, it was hard to find like good tutorials and stuff like that, but I made it work. I got it going and I did it. So I don't know. I feel very proud of that, even though they suck. So that's all for my haul. So let's go into my goals. This is kind of like for the entire month of July. So my first goal is to get all this on bobbins, because if you watch my first video, you know that I bought the DMC chest, and I've been slowly but surely putting all of them on bobbins, but like I got these and now I got the étoile that I got to put on bobbins. So I need to get that done. I want to get that done by the end of the month. I don't want these to sit around because it just, you know, I want to have easy access to all my threads and I like to be organized. So that's like a big goal. I also want to finish the third page, like I said, of this Pokemon cross stitch. And depending on how fast that goes and how much time, I might shoot for just page 4 and get like the whole top bar finished, and so that I can move on to the next big row. I want to get the top half at least of Pavane for these times done of page 1. The top half of page 1. And I think that'll be easy because it's not full coverage, but we'll see. I don't know what my stitching pace is with that yet. Like I said, I've only stitched on it a couple times. So I at least want to make some viewable progress, but I think the top half I can finish. Then I'm gonna do a little bit of Christmas in July. I've never actually stitched anything Christmas related, but I found, what is it, Owl Forest Embroidery. They have these really precious owl and cat ornaments, and so I thought, what the heck, so I'm gonna order at the beginning of July, I'm going to order some perforated paper, which I've never stitched on before, but I thought that would be kind of cute for these. And then for the white of like all their coat linings, I'm going to swap that for étoile. And I might swap some of the other colors for étoile too. I don't know, we'll see. But I thought that a lot of that étoile would be great for ornament type work. And I don't know, I just wanted it. So yeah, we'll see what other substitutions I can make, but definitely the white of the coats, because I thought that would be a really cute little touch. The other pattern I want to do for Christmas in July is I want to start the clown from the Snowman Collector series. This one, I have to buy the fabric and the like over dyes for it. The fabric I absolutely cannot find. It seems like on all the websites that I use to buy, like 123 Stitch, it's sold out. It's 36 count chocolate milk linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I checked her website and it's like, I think it's like made to order from her website, which it's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks. I don't want to wait. So I might just buy like an alternative kind of lighter tanny brown fabric, but I don't know yet. I'm debating. And then for the overdyes, they are Weeks Dye Works, and honestly, like, I don't know a lot about the situation regarding Weeks Dye Works, and I haven't like been able to find too much. So until I can get the full story and figure out like what the controversy was behind all that, I have decided not to purchase from them until I can like make an informed decision. So I'm going to sub out those overdyes, and I have never done that before. So and I've never worked with overdyes either. So it made it extra hard. So what I found was from the Gentle Art, I found a couple of threads. So this calls for baked apple and grapefruit, and from Weeks Dye Works, and I'm going to sub them in with Gentle Art's mulberry and tomato. And I think that those are pretty good matches, and I don't think that it'll like affect the, you know, the end product. I think it'll make it just as cute. So yeah, that's my other Christmas in July stitch that I want to do. And I don't know my plans, because I might buy the other snowmen, so I kind of want to wait to like fully finish them until I get them all, the ones that I want, and maybe make a bunch of like little pillows or something. I think that would be cute. I want to finish the Van Gogh mini art, and then maybe start a second one for the month of July. I have a couple on my list that I am itching to get to, but that's kind of like an ongoing thing. Like every month I'm always going to have that as a goal, is like finish at least one, probably two, but it's just kind of like, it just depends on which ones I want to do and what I have time for. And then I have this pattern that I got from DeviantArt like a billion years ago, like when I was in college, and it's just been sitting on my Google Drive forever. And they are cross-stitch patterns for the Star Trek original series and the Next Generation, like just little like kind of chibi versions of the characters. And so I want to make the TOS ones, the original series ones eventually, but I'm thinking I'm going to stitch up a bunch of the Next Generation ones into magnets and then give them to my dad, because me and my dad used to watch the Next Generation together when I was a kid. And it's like fun little easy stitching. So I'll like see how many I can get done this month, maybe like 2 or 3, because like I said, they're not that big. They're like probably going to end up being like this big. So I have quite a lot of plastic canvas lying around, and then I won't use those crazy super strong magnets because they actually stick stuff to their fridge. My parents do. So I probably got to find some kind of middle ground, not neodymium or however the heck you say that word. And my last goal for July, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because my brain just can't wrap itself around like the magnitude of it, but I want to make a huge tapestry of color swatches of all the DMC threads, because I own all of the main line. Now I have all the étoile, and then I can just, as I get, you know, satins and variations and colores and things like that, I can just add them in. But I want to make a tapestry of them and, you know, do like maybe like a 3x10 or 3x5, I'm not sure yet because I have to chart this out, block of stitches of that color, and then in back stitching just put like DMC and then the color code underneath it. But I need to map out, you know, how many colors I want it wide and tall and how I want to put the back stitching in and stuff like that, because I don't necessarily know the number of colors for each line. So I need to know all the colors before I can get it started, because I don't want it to like look skewed later on. So I want to map that out. That's going to take a little bit of research, but not necessarily start it, because I don't even know how big the fabric is going to be for that. We'll see. And I'll probably just stitch that on Aida. I can find a really big piece of Aida, no problem. So yeah. So I think that is everything for today's video. Let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions for how to cut vinyl, because I think my vinyl cuts just got really wonky. Maybe the piece was too big that I started with, but yeah, let me know if you have any like good sewing tips for a beginner sewer, and let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.